Hello, good afternoon, Hector.
Hello, good evening.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, beautiful. It's beautiful to see you. Look, I just have to tell you something that's kind of like what happened on yesterday's show regarding the funeral homes, but in my case, it happened in a crematorium. And it's kind of weird, but I'm gonna tell you. At first, it's a bit brief. In 2020, with the pandemic, my mom passed away, and because she asked me to, she asked to be cremated, her body. And once she was cremated, to be buried in the garden of my nephew's house, who is my mom's oldest grandson. Well, my mom passed away. We cremated her and did everything she asked us to do. 5 months later, being at home with my dad, having mate around 4 p.m., give or take, the phone rings, saying it was from the crematorium, from González Catan. I asked him what he needed, and he says, a lady, hello, how are you? Good afternoon, my name is Angelica, and I need to speak with the Tanto family. Yes, I say, it's here. Who do you want to speak with? They say with this person or with that person. I say, well, look, I'm the daughter of that person. Yeah, look, I was calling to let you know if you can come to the crematorium to pick up your mom. I say to her, look, my mom has already passed away and we've received her ashes. We were summoned by the funeral home to go pick up the ashes, and my mom is already at my nephew's house. No, she doesn't tell me. You don't get me. Your mom didn't die. She's here, alive next to me.
How?
She gave me your number so I could call you again. And for someone to pick her up since she's sitting next to me, and I told her, excuse me, I said, is this a joke? She said, no. And I said, okay, wait a second. I'm going to put the phone on speaker so my dad can hear it. I tell my dad to listen to the lady because what she'll say will give him goosebumps. And I say, okay, go ahead, ma'am. What happened? And while I repeat everything I just said, that we should look for my mom, obviously my dad started asking a million questions. Can you imagine?
Of course.
Right then, when we saw that the lady was actually serious, we called my nephew. He came quickly because my nephew works around here. And we told him everything that happened. And he said, well, let's see, let's look for her. If she's really there, let's look for her, obviously. They didn't do an autopsy when my mom passed away. And I asked my dad several times, and he insists that my mom didn't have an autopsy. So we had even more reason to go. We arrived around 7 in the evening. At the crematorium, we arrived, we went in, and we said, we're here to pick up my mom. And the man who was there thought it was a box with ashes.
Of course.
I told him, no, sir, they called us on the phone. This person telling us that my mom was alive here in this place, which seemed strange to us. The man looks at us as if trying to convince us, like, who are these crazy people? And he tells me. He asks, what did the caller look like? And I tell him her name is Angelica. Let me see, just a second. A girl appears out of nowhere, and I ask her, are you Angelica? No, she says, Angelica was my mom, but tell me what happened to you. Well, we repeated everything again. We told her everything that had happened to us. She says, look, I don't want to lie to you, but my mom, she has passed away, and they're not the first people to show up at the crematorium, saying that my mom called you on the phone, which seems odd and strange to us. She says, but obviously there's no Esther here. That Esther was my mom? That she's alive? And my mom also passed away about 4 or 5 months ago. So, my dad, my nephew, and I were all left speechless.
Just like us.
We came back feeling bad because the place is awful. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. And well, I wanted you to know my story. Kisses to everyone and a very happy new year to you, to your family, to your mom, whom I saw in a video from Mexico.
Yeah.
Everything is beautiful. Kisses.
I think yours is one of the most impactful stories in the entire history of Trasnoche Paranormal. What you told us is the plot of a Netflix series episode. Imagine this. Imagine getting a call saying a family member died and will be cremated. Later, you get another call. Someone says, "I'm here with your mom." You reply, "But my mom died and was cremated." They insist, "No, your mom is alive and wants you to pick her up." You arrive at the crematorium, someone attends to you, explains what happened, then asks who called you, Angelica. "No, but Angelica is my mom. That person will tell you." "Who already passed away?" And this has already happened several times. As if the deceased were meeting. As if they were meeting. As if they were meeting in the afterlife. And they could also, through a phone call or a WhatsApp message, interact with us, the living. This is one of the most powerful stories I've ever heard. It's one of the most powerful. I think it deserves to be heard again. And we're going to make this clip for social media because I want to read comments. I'm going to upload this to Instagram, so I want comments on this story. I'm going to upload this to TikTok. I think it's the show's most powerful story, and I'll upload it as a clip to the Trasnoche Paranormal YouTube channel. Listen to this, please. Listen to this. Listen carefully to the story, please.
Hello, good afternoon, Hector. Happy New Year. It's wonderful to see you. Look, what I have to tell you is something similar to what happened on yesterday's show regarding the funeral homes, but in my case, it happened in a crematorium, and it's kind of strange, but I'm going to tell you. At first, it's a bit brief. In 2020, with the pandemic, my mom passed away, and because she asked me to, she asked to be cremated, her body, and once cremated, to be buried in the garden of my nephew's house, who is my mom's oldest grandson. Well, my mom passed away, we cremated her and did everything she asked us to do. 5 months later, being at home with my dad, having some mate tea around 4 in the afternoon, more or less, the phone rings, saying they were from the crematorium, not the funeral home, from González Catán. I asked him what he needed, and he said, and a lady says to me, "Hello, how are you? Good afternoon, my name is Angelica, and I need to talk to the family, both." "Yes," I said, "it's here. Who do you want to talk to?" They say, "With this person or with that person." I say, "Well, look, I'm that person's daughter." Yeah, look, I just wanted to let you know if you can come to the crematorium to pick up your mom." I tell her, "Look, my mom already passed away and they already gave us my mom's ashes." We were summoned by the funeral home to pick up the ashes, and my mom is already at my nephew's place. "No," she says, "you don't understand me. Your mom didn't die. She's here, alive next to me. She gave me your number so I could call you again. And for someone to come get her because she's sitting here next to me." And I said, "Excuse me," I said, "this is a joke." "No," she said. I said, "Well, wait a second. That I'm going to put it on speakerphone so my dad can hear it." I move closer and tell my dad to listen to the lady because what she'll say will give him goosebumps. And I say, "Okay, go ahead, ma'am, what happened?" And well, she repeats everything I just said, that we should go look for my mom. Obviously, my dad started asking 1,000 questions. Can you imagine? Right then, when we saw that the lady was speaking seriously, we called my nephew. He came quickly because my nephew works around here. And we told him everything that happened, and he said, "Okay, let's see, let's look for her. If she's really there, let's look for her." Obviously, they didn't perform an autopsy when my mom passed away, and I asked my dad several times, and he insists that my mom didn't have an autopsy. So, with even more reason, we got there around 7 in the evening. At the crematorium, we arrived, we went in, and we said, "We're here to pick up my mom." And the man who was there thought it was a box with ashes. I told him, "No, sir, they called us on the phone." Such person telling us that my mom was alive here in that place, which seems strange to us. And the man looks at us with a face like saying, "And where did these crazy people come from?" And he tells me, What is the caller like? I told him her name is Angelica. Let's see, just a second. Out of nowhere, a girl appears. And I ask her, are you Angelica? No, she says. Angelica was my mom. But tell me, what happened? Well, we repeated everything again. We told her everything that had happened to us. She says, look, I don't want to lie to you, but my mom, she has passed away. And you're not the first person to show up at the crematorium saying that my mom called you on the phone, which we find odd and strange, she says, but obviously there's no one here. Esther was my mom. Who is alive? And my mom also passed away about 4 or 5 months ago. So we were left speechless. My dad, my nephew, and I, we came back feeling bad because the place is awful. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. And, well, I wanted you to know my story. Kisses to everyone and a very happy new year to you, to your family, to your mom, whom I saw in a video from Mexico. And, well, everything was beautiful. Kisses.
Guys, I think we're witnesses to the most intense story on the show since I've been doing it for 14 years. It's really a short film for Netflix. I have a lot of questions and a lot of ideas. First, I want to share the idea that's coming to me. I would love to, from a place of collaboration. If there's any listener or follower who's good with artificial intelligence, with the audio from this woman, I can forward it to them. To make a short film with artificial intelligence from this narration, because I think it deserves it. We deserve to see the story as if it were a movie. If any of you know how to do it with artificial intelligence, I'll forward you the audio so you can transcribe it, extract the text, put together the video, and send it to me, and of course I'll give you credit. If you have a YouTube channel as well, if the person who does it has a YouTube channel, and I upload it to the Trasnoche Paranormal channel in collaboration with your channel, with the creator's channel. If they don't have a YouTube channel, I list all credits in the description box below. Kasoni, do you know how to do it? Text me. You have my private number. Kasson is a student. Text me, and I'll send it to you. I'll forward you the audio. I would love to do this. I need to see this story. I need to see it as a Netflix series. And I promise to share it on the Trasnoche Paranormal YouTube channel. Write to me if there's someone who can do it. It's the most paranormal story I've ever heard in my life. Because besides, he told it in such a casual way, so truthfully. So intense. So real. I was stunned. I'm used to these stories, but this one surprised me. Guys, if anyone can do it, send me an email at trasnocheparanormal@gmail.com and I'll send you the audio there. If you send your phone number, I'll WhatsApp it to you. And I would like to see it put together with like a movie. I would love that. Write to me at trasnocheparanormal@gmail.com. That's on one hand, and on the other, what I would also love to do is to call her. This woman, her name is Viviana. I'm going to save the audio right now. Audio, crematorium. No, this is shocking. Also, I'm going to forward the audio to myself because I'm afraid that these things, the paranormal sometimes deletes audios. I forwarded it to myself and will call her. Let's see if I can call her live. We're calling her on air. She's online. We're calling her live. I hope she answers. Viviana, hello Viviana, are you there?
Hello, how are you? Good afternoon, Hector. How's it going?
How are you doing?
Greetings.
I just put it on the air.
Who?
Your audio. I just put your audio on the air.
Yes, thank you. I just came to listen to it.
Well,
Impressive, right? Can you imagine how I feel? I can imagine how I feel.
The way you experienced it, is that how it happened to you? The way you told it, is that how it happened to you?
Yes. Yes? Exactly. The same. Everything the same. And to tell you the truth, I listened to what I sent you. And it's like I just experienced it.
When did it happen?
And I swear it's true, okay?
I believe you. When did this happen?
In April, look, my mom passed away in October 2020, on October 28th, 2020, and this happened in April. The first days, I don't remember if it was Holy Week, but it was the first days of April.
Pandemic.
Of course, typical pandemic.
That's why...
At the wake, not many people could be seen.
Of course.
At the crematorium, we couldn't accompany the coffin. Well, all alone, just like that, my mom went alone in the funeral procession.
Like many people who...
Oh, yes.
Who lost someone during the pandemic. That's why he has that mysterious sequence that you couldn't be there for a long time after her passing, let's say, with...
No.
Her body. And once they do the cremation, which I also imagine was right there, also in 2020.
It was the same day she passed away and was at the funeral home. Let me explain briefly.
Yes.
She passed away on the 28th, which was a Wednesday. Since it was during the pandemic, they had to do a swab test. It took 2 days for the funeral home to deliver the body to us. And well, the funeral home service lasted an hour, the wake, because obviously it was during the pandemic. And that same day, which was Friday, October 30th, at 2 in the afternoon, his body was going to be cremated. In fact, the funeral home called us to let us know that my mom was already being cremated. They had informed us.
Okay.
So the following Monday, already, my dad and my nephew went to pick up the ashes because there at the funeral home, my nephew was already going home with the ashes to be buried in the garden, just like my mom asked.
And they did that? They buried the ashes in the garden?
We did all that, yes. Everything is buried with a little plant, which is now a little tree. And well, everything's just fine. About 5 months later, from October to April, 5 or 6 months had passed. My dad and I were calm, drinking mate, watching television. Obviously, we were still depressed from the mourning. About 6 months, a year of mourning. And well, they called us on the landline. And well, everything I told you, which I swear is true.
I'm going to ask you to repeat it now that I have you live. They call and you answer the phone.
I answer, I ask, who is this? Hello, good afternoon, this and that. And they say to me, yes, we are from such and such crematorium. I don't remember if it was Jardín de Paz or Crematorio La Paz. Something like González Catán, something like that. I don't know if it's still there because around here in this area, I live in Merlo, around here the crematoriums are closed. And I say yes, I ask what they need, and yes, look, I talk to the family a lot. Yes, I say we're here. They say, look, I need to talk to someone in the family. It could be my dad or me. I say to him, look, I'll help you. What do you need? No, he says, look, I need you to come and get your mom here at the crematorium. I said, look, my mom already passed away and we have her ashes. I told her everything that happened. And she says, no, she says, no, you don't understand. Your mom is here alive. She's sitting next to me.
Wait, let me stop you there. At the moment when you're on the phone on the other side, you hear this woman's voice telling you, no, you don't understand. Your mom is alive.
Yes.
How did you feel then? What happened to you?
I got goosebumps and I almost fell. If it weren't because I kind of grabbed onto a piece of furniture I have there, I swear my blood pressure dropped. And when I brought the phone closer to my dad so he could hear what this woman was saying, I was as pale as a ghost, because my dad even asked me, what happened to you?
Because this woman...
I didn't mention that in the audio, by the way.
This woman who calls you says, look, your mom is here alive. She's asking that.
Alive?
That you come to get her.
Yes.
It makes you realize that... I'm not sure if she said more, so I'll ask you. If she made you understand that the person they cremated wasn't her, that she was alive, did she tell you anything else?
No, she told me what she did clarify for me, because I forgot to mention it to you in the audio I sent you. I asked her, what's my mom's name? And she said, Esther.
So, actually, the person who called you also had your phone number.
She had my phone number, but at the crematorium we didn't provide one since mom's body left from the funeral home. And at the funeral home, the strange thing is that the only phone number we gave them, just in case, wasn't the landline, it was a cell phone. But how did he have the landline number? That's what caught our attention. I even told the girl, the lady's daughter,
Of course, this woman calls you and says, look, I'm here with your mom. She's sitting here. She's telling me to have someone come pick her up at some point. People are live asking questions, and I'm passing on some questions that I think are good.
Yes, please. I'll answer whatever you want.
And don't, not to bother you, but to ask you, didn't you feel like saying, well, let me talk to her?
Look, at one point underneath her voice, I heard my mom's voice.
Ah, okay.
Yes. What happened is that I didn't mention it in the audio so it wouldn't be too long because I know your show's time is limited. I didn't want to mention it, but in the background, my mom's voice could be heard and I did hear it. I swear I heard it.
I mean, like...
And I repeat again that everything I told you is true.
Yes, I believe it.
No, not adding anything, not saying anything.
Viviana, I know you wouldn't lie about your mom's death, so don't worry.
No, please, especially not with a death.
Listen, and it was like, to reconstruct the feeling, it was as if indeed your mom was disoriented or lost, and she was asking this woman for help. Call my daughter, tell her to come get me like anyone would.
Of course.
If something happens to us, if there's an accident.
Of course.
Or if he gets disoriented, right?
I'll tell you something that I didn't mention in the audio and that I can share here.
Yeah.
My mom was hospitalized a week before because she had respiratory problems, and every now and then she would have to get nebulizations at the same clinic where she later passed away. So my mom's voice at the end was already very labored, like a heavy breathing, like she was short of breath.
Of course.
So that's what I heard when my mom wanted to, and in reality when my mom spoke, it was with that labored breathing. It wasn't a calm voice, a flat voice like we speak. It was like, woo, like that.
So this could make sense that it wasn't your mom who called you, but that she asked someone else to speak for her.
It could be. What also catches my attention is that the person I supposedly spoke to, the deceased.
Of course.
How do you make sense of that?
I wanted to move the story forward. They call you on the phone, they say, come and get it, you show your dad, and what does he say? Let's go.
Right.
At some point, did you ever think, hey, she's actually alive and they made a mistake with the ashes they gave us? Did you ever think that?
Well, I did, and I'll tell you more. I never trusted the box, the urn with my mom's ashes because, they never actually give you the ashes of your own loved one.
That's true.
There's always something extra, let's just say. May God forgive me.
Of course.
But anyway, and I always used to tell my dad, in fact, let me tell you more. When she died, when they were cremating her, when they told us they were going to cremate her, I said to him, hey, Dad, what if Mom didn't die and she just looked like she was sleeping? Because I told my dad that several times. Because I believe Mom didn't die. And then this happens, which is what catches my attention. And it's not the first time this has happened to me either, because I've had premonitory dreams where I see my mom talking to me and she herself tells me, come find me.
Wait, dreaming is one thing, but your story is even more powerful. I'm coming back.
Yes, exactly.
Back to the timeline. They switched to your dad. Are we heading to the crematorium?
We called a car service, told them our destination, and the driver gave us a strange look. It was 7 p.m, already autumn and getting dark. I told him, it doesn't matter, let's go. If you can stay, stay. If not, we'll leave and take another car.
And they arrive at the crematorium. They arrive, and then what?
We arrived at the crematorium.
And who receives you?
A man who was like a guard, a security guy who was there because it was already closed.
Yes.
Or they were about to close, and they closed around 8 or 9, something like that. So I said to him, look, we're here to pick up my mom. Right away it slipped out, and the man thought it was an urn with ashes.
Of course, because...
I told him no, since we were supposed to find someone who had already passed away and was at a crematorium. And I said to him, no, sir, you don't understand me. I said, I'm here to look for my mom who is alive. And they called us, and such person called us. Then the security guard told us, what's the name of the lady who called you? And I say, Angelica, and she says, wait a minute. From a small office, a girl comes out, and I say, are you Angelica? No, she says, Angelica is my mom. She says, but tell me what happened to you, because I'll tell you later what happened to me. And I say, well, we tell her everything. She says, look, she says, Angelica is my mom, but she passed away, and she also died about 4 or 5 months ago. She wasn't the first one.
They stayed there.
We were left speechless.
Because then he said, the person who called you had died, and obviously your mom, from the other side, connected with the spirit of that woman, Angelica, who called you.
Apparently, yes. Do you know who it reminded me of? I don't know if you've seen the movie Ghost, The Shadow of Love.
Yes, of course.
Well, do you remember when Patrick Swayze's character is in a waiting room and an old man appears who's going to look for his wife?
Yes.
Well, I had that feeling like the old man was the lady, this Angelica, and Patrick Swayze would be my mom. Like they were both connected. I mean, both of them were dead without knowing it.
They connected on another plane but managed to intervene via the phone call.
Intervene through a phone call. The thing is, how did she know my number? Because I asked. I said, did any of you call my number? We gave them the number and everything, and the girl said, we don't have that number. The lady's daughter? Yes, she told me that her mother worked at that crematorium because it's a family-run place, let's say the crematorium. After her mother died, she was left in charge of everything.
And the woman, the one who tells you that Angelica was her deceased mother, does she add that this has happened several times or something like that, as you said?
Yes. When she tells me that, she says, I'm not the first one to come and say that my mom called her. She told us that it seemed strange and odd to her. Because my mom passed away 4 or 5 months ago, and actually, when it was Christmas or New Year's, she said they went back to the crematorium to look for a person who was supposedly dead. Sorry, who was alive. It was a man. And that this happened at Christmas.
So, this woman wasn't too surprised since something similar had happened before?
Yes, and honestly, she was cool as a cucumber because she didn't even get nervous. She didn't start crying. I'm telling you the truth, when I left there, I was a mess. We all left feeling awful. We came to my house feeling bad, distressed because we don't understand. In fact, my nephew stayed with us to see what was going on because we couldn't understand how it could be that they called us from another plane.
Of course.
And that's where it was, that's where it stayed. And until now, no. Actually, later I had to go run an errand here in Libertad. I passed by the funeral home where my mom was laid out and I mentioned it too, and they didn't scold me since it was already too much, but she said, ma'am, we don't want stories like that.
Of course, because...
Those things don't exist. They thought I was crazy.
Crazy, no, of course.
And I'm not crazy. I did have to see a psychologist.
And what do you think?
To calm my nerves, because honestly, after what happened, I went nearly a month without sleeping or eating, begging my mom please to give me a sign of what had happened. Unfortunately, with my mom, I used to dream about her, but after it happened, I stopped. My dad does have dreams.
You?
Has other things.
How did your old man handle it? I bet you both were surprised, thinking it couldn't be explained.
Bad. In fact, we had to hospitalize him because he has a pacemaker close to his heart, and from the strong emotion he felt, it might sound funny, but it isn't. The device ran out of battery and they had to operate on him urgently 2 months later.
How's your old man doing now?
He nearly died, but all things considered, he's doing well. It's been 5 or 6 years since that happened, so... It'll be 6 years since my mom passed away, but well... It's been almost 5 years since it happened, but we still can't believe it.
No.
I swear we still can't believe it.
Same here. You said you used to dream about her, but after this you stopped dreaming about your mom.
I didn't dream about her anymore. The only ones who dream about her are my dad and my sister. But my sister once said that she also dreamed that my mom told her to come look for her, but she didn't say the place.
Always the recurring phrase that they should go look for her. I think there's a message there, right?
I'll tell you the truth, ever since my nephew buried her in his garden, I never liked the idea. But not because she's buried in his garden. I can't mourn her. Because there's no cemetery, there's nothing. It's not the same as when you go to a cemetery where you have a loved one, where you know you can cry or shed a tear or something. Mom, I can't go to my nephew's because his kids will see me crying and ask questions. They don't know their great-grandmother is there.
There are two...
Because they were still little?
Of course, and besides, they were little. There are two hypotheses. One, that your mom hasn't ascended yet, and she's in an intermediate plane trying to give you some message. And the other one, I want to say it, and I'm going to say it with all due respect because you are the protagonist of the story and we're talking about your mom. Maybe...
Yes, tell me.
That maybe this thing about them coming to look for me, maybe it's referring to the fact that actually what you suspected, right? Maybe they gave you someone else's ashes and your mom is...
I think so.
She's saying her ashes might be somewhere else, right? That's how I take it.
Yes. No, me too, because I was always with my sister. We always disagreed about cremation. In fact, when my dad dies, we don't want him to be cremated. We want him to have a grave, even though we don't really like cemeteries either, or many people don't like them, but no to cremation because you can't be sure whose body is in the urn.
Of course, no.
But well,
You experienced this story, and for me, it's the most powerful I've ever heard. What do you say to those who don't believe in paranormal phenomena after having experienced this?
they should get off their high horse and believe it. Because any little thing, any tiny detail, a dream, a light, a shadow, something, it's real. For me, also, my mom, let me explain something to you. My mom, she always used to insult God. I think she's on that plane you're talking about.
Why did she insult God?
Because, let's see. Here's what I want to say. It was very hard for us to move forward, especially in these times. So we always lived with just enough, only what was necessary, and in a very precarious way. We got ahead, yes, we're hard workers like anyone else. We work our tails off, but we just barely make it. And it's like my mom was always jealous because she had sisters who got ahead. She has 2 sisters who are living abroad. Those 2 sisters are living well. When she died, those sisters didn't even call on the phone. But she, in turn, my mom, always insulted God because she would say, "Why, Lord, me? Why do I have to deal with this bad inheritance or this bad negativity? Knowing that we are workers, that we come from the countryside, because I'm not going to lie to you." I was studying at a university here in Merlo to become a nurse, specifically to help my parents when they get even older. But I couldn't continue due to everything happening in my age. I'm 56 years old. I just turned 56. I can't find a job. So I'm living off the world and whatever I can get by on. I do my little things. Sometimes I work on the computer, but not. So my mom is like, She
was angry?
She was kind of angry, actually. At the end, on the last Christmas before she passed away, we didn't put up the Christmas tree. It was her decision. We didn't put up the Christmas tree.
There are so many spiritual perspectives on what happens when we die, right? But there must be some kind of intermission, an intermediate stage before ascending. Some people call it purgatory, right? That transition where there's a sort of...
Yes, the famous final judgment, as it's also called.
Is that what your mom is referring to? Your mom, her spirit, right? In a place where she hasn't ascended yet? That's why she says they should come for me.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe she's regretting what she said about the Creator, about God, right?
When she was admitted the last week before she died, during those days, she told me, she asked me for forgiveness to me. Because she wasn't, how can I say, a good mother. And I told her, "Mom, you have nothing to forgive. If anything, I should be asking you for forgiveness. Because I know I didn't behave like a good daughter." But she crying told me, forgive me. I didn't do it on purpose, but I'm coming back like I told you before." She was very angry with God, and maybe that's why she was also angry with us or angry with me. But not violently, no hitting, just insults and harsh words, things everyone experiences sometimes, right? But well, one more thing, and I'll tell you the last thing.
Whatever you want, whatever you wish.
After that happened in April, in May I spoke with a priest, a clergyman, and a priest told me, "Pray Psalm 91 in your mom's bedroom. And at the end, with a wooden crucifix if you can, and at the end of Psalm 91, read the prayer of St. Benedict, which you sometimes read."
Yes,
Okay. And I did it. It was in May, the first Monday of May, I did it at 2 in the afternoon. And I can assure you that here in her room, which is where I'm talking to you from now, her room, all of her things started to move.
Well,
The crucifix she has up here above her bed, a wooden crucifix, one of those you hang on the headboard, and a lamp fell, and the light turned on by itself.
Well, there was a response there then from being there.
Yes, because
Yes, go ahead.
after reading the psalm and the prayer of Saint Benito, I told my mom, I said, "Please go to the light. Go to the light with the grandparents, uncles, and your siblings." I said, Now rest in peace. You already asked me for forgiveness and I also forgave you. Forgiveness is mutual. And then as soon as I finished saying that, the crucifix started to move, the one I told you about, the one I have at the headboard that's on my mom's headboard. And a bedside lamp fell and the light turned on by itself. And then since that time, I haven't felt anything else or any connection with my mom. So I have to think that she already went to the light. I want to imagine that. I always ask God for my mom to be in the light.
I'm going to ask you one last question, and I'll try to be also careful, but I put myself in your place.
Yes, ask.
I imagine if this happened to my own family, like my mom, dad, or someone who passed away, I would ask myself this question. Did you ever come to think, hey, my mom is really alive. I mean, maybe she wasn't dead. I mean, I'm just imagining, okay? Maybe she wasn't dead. Maybe she got up there during the cremation and for some reason, she's somewhere or they have her somewhere.
Lost?
I don't know, because you just don't know what to think. And this sign tells you, hey, look, she didn't pass away because during the pandemic you couldn't verify that. There was no way to check it.
Right. Plus, my mom didn't get an autopsy.
That's why I'm telling you. I mean, it was better to trust that things were done right. Like it happened to a lot of people who later, over the years, found out there was malpractice, that maybe the person could have survived, right? Dido, unfortunately, it was a very strange time during the pandemic and this restriction that was experienced here, where many people couldn't see their loved ones die.
Of course, when it was my mom's wake, to tell you the truth, my dad had asked the woman from the funeral home to close the coffin because wakes are hard for me, just like for anyone who goes to a wake. I can't see the person inside the coffin. It gives me the chills. And then I end up having nightmares about the person who dies. And the same thing happened when my paternal grandmother died. I still picture her in the coffin to this day. I close my eyes and I see her. And I told my dad, no, Dad, I said, leave the coffin open because it's Mom. I said, nothing's going to happen to me. I assure you, nothing happened to me. I don't have nightmares with my mom. Yeah, when we saw her in the coffin, we were shocked because you know when someone dies, they look one way, and when they give you the body, it changes completely.
Of course.
The person's features. But my mom had her face was very purple. But if you touched her, and I'm not going to lie, she was warm, and 2 days had already passed. Now, I don't know if in there it was. In October, it wasn't that cold. And the body didn't feel cold. I mean, like the hand, for example, the fingers, and they moved naturally, and it had already been 2 days. It wasn't stiff.
Your story is very strange, eh? It's very strange.
And a lot of things like that. I have a lot to tell you, but I don't want to take up your time. I'll call another day. Or I'll send you a voice message another day.
Of course, of course.
But I have many, especially premonitory dreams that have come true. To tell you the truth, I'm already getting scared.
Well, let's do one thing. Viviana, first I want to thank you for agreeing to tell us all this.
No, please.
We'll closely follow your case since it will likely have major repercussions. I'm already getting messages from abroad. They're watching the show. Has something like this happened to you before? Yes.
Oh, look.
During the pandemic, so we'll definitely talk again. Thank you, Viviana, sending you a big hug.
Thank you. Let me tell you this. I swear.
Yes.
I swear by the light that shines on me and by God himself who exists that what I told you is true. Nothing is a lie. Nothing is exaggerated. Nothing just to be in the media. Please, I hope no one thinks that. It really happened to me and it happened to us, which really caught our attention. That's why I'm telling you to believe, even if it's just something small, like a shadow. I'm not sure if you talk to the universe and watch a feather fall. These are things that happen, and be grateful to God, because it's the only way to also understand what's happening.
Yes, that's right.
Do you understand me? Because if not, we're going to go crazy, and we're not crazy, we're not out of our minds, it's just happening to us, it's happening to us. Yesterday, when I listened to your show about the funeral home, I'm telling you the truth, it's true. My ex-husband worked at a funeral home. He says he saw many things come out several times and left terrified. What happened is that because of work, he had to stay. But, well, now he's retired and, well, that's it. He's finished his work there. But, well,
so you can be at ease. Not only do we believe you, not just us here, but everyone who's listening, all the comments are, we listen to you with a lot of respect, we believe you. Because also it's clear from the way you tell your story that first, you're not making it up, and second, that you're not...
No, not at all.
It's also clear that you're not rambling. It's clear what you experienced is real.
No, please.
Well, it's a mystery. That's exactly why you're telling it on this show. Sending you a big kiss. Thank you.
No, Hector, anytime you like. I'll send you an audio later with the premonitory dreams.
All right, yes.
You'll be fascinated by what I have to tell you.
All right, I'll be waiting for you. Sending you a big kiss.
All right, another one for everyone.
Thank you, bye-bye.
See you soon.
See you later, folks. We've just witnessed the most powerful testimony since we started this show. I hope you feel the same way. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to receive voice messages. 11 27 84 1073. Or write if someone has experienced something similar. trasnocheparanormal@gmail.com. Today, it really is a historic show. It's a historic show. And this story is really going to have a huge impact. I can already say that on social media, on platforms.